Tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
The animal has trap, cause the page is full. And the page is full. The day is new. And everyone is waiting on you. And you got time.
I could have kept going, but I'm going to stop.
You got some lungs on you. That one's got some lungs.
Never smoked, I'm sure.
Hey, what's up? Welcome to Orange is the New Black Season 3, Episode 2. Welcome. I'm your host, Megan Thomas, at Meg Scoop on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And this guy here, Scott.
Hey, I know I'm going to probably get hate mail from my long...
Haters.
At SMan80, you can find me, SMan80.
Yes, and you beautiful ladies. Who are you?
Hello, I'm Sterling. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Sterling Cates with a C.
Yes, and I'm Stacy Ike. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at OneTakeStace.
I feel like somebody's going to spell Sterling C-T-E-R.
Yeah, exactly.
Sterling starts with S.
Crazy.
I think it should be on the bottom somewhere.
Right. Let us know what you think of AfterBuzz TV and our podcast. Just go to podcast1.com. Please take the survey for us. It's 3 minutes. It's really quick. And it helps us get better, and it helps us to reach out to you the way you'd like to be reached out to.
Right, because it's all about you.
It's all about you. And make sure you use the hashtag ABTVOITNB. Is that right?
You got it.
So hard. It's on the screen. It's on the screen. It's a lot of letters.
So many letters.
Use the hashtag. If you do, we're able to see all of your comments, so we might just shout you out.
Absolutely.
Right?
Well, it's about right to us.
It's about right. Okay, let's talk about this. So, Bed Bugs and Beyond was what this episode was called.
So good.
Because it's talking
I
about
didn't
bed
even
bugs.
get that until right now.
Oh, you
Are you
did
serious?
You know when you're just laying in bed watching Netflix and you don't really think about it. I don't think about the title. Wow.
I love it. I never got into the titles until recently.
Really?
I never really liked the titles. No, I mean, like, working on reality shows and everything, I've really gotten into, like, titles. I'm like,
I love that.
they're great.
Agreed.
Bed Bugs and Beyond. So, of course, it starts off with Flocka scratching her arm because she thinks she has crabs on her arm.
That was so freaking funny.
You can't get crabs on your arm, right?
From what we learned today. No.
I don't know. Like, wait, can you get crabs on your arm?
I love her description though. She was like, but I haven't done it in a while, and that was on accident.
I hit somebody on accident. I haven't been around anyone.
Right.
That was great. She's like, what do I have, imitation crabs?
Cracking up. All I could think was like sushi. It was like, it's horrible.
Yeah. Spelled with A.
Right.
Speaking of your name.
I wonder how the bed bugs got there.
Well, you remember last episode, all the kids were scratching their head.
Right.
Little Lucy was like under the bed scratching her head.
They kept blaming Lucy, but...
Yeah, well, it didn't hit me until after. But do you remember in the first episode this season when they're all out in the grass, like Lucy and her brother and sister, they were like picking each other's heads.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was lice.
Yeah, I mean that is more of a lice thing, but I'm like
because I feel like bed bugs don't live on people. They come out at night
But
when
they
you're
come in
sleeping,
their
and they
They do come on your clothes and everything.
and your body.
But are you scratching?
Yeah, they're itchy. Like you can get a rash.
See, okay, well, here's the thing, because I watched the special on Dateline, and I've been fearful of bed bugs ever since. And they leave like a trail. It looks like little mosquito bites,
little red
but they
bites.
leave a trail up your veins because they suck the blood on your veins.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you would be able to see if you had like. So that's why when the doctor was looking at Flocka with like the magnifying glass, I'm like, you should be able to see with your naked eye.
But the moment he noticed when he goes, like he was like, oh dang. So I don't know if maybe she did have imitation crabs. Who knows? But the way it was, because I was like looking at her arm too. I'm like, what is that? Like, how can he tell? So,
well, I mean, and even they mentioned that they were like, I don't wash the security guards' clothes every day, like blah, blah, blah. Like they can break anything that comes in from the outside.
Right.
Can bring it in.
Right.
But if it's gotten so far to where it's in the books and stuff, it had to have been like festering.
Do we know if it's in
That
the books?
could have been
That could have been muffin crumb.
I think that's a little...
No, I don't ragamuffin girl.
Like, I'm 50-50.
That was disgusting.
That was very disgusting.
Yeah, so I was taking it that it came from the kids and from all the families cut from the last episode.
That's so great that you said. I didn't even realize. I didn't put two and two together that the kids were scratching. For some reason, the lice and the bed bug, I didn't make the connection.
They were all itching and scratching their
and I
heads.
just assumed they were all coming from outside, and that's what you had this more than normal, and that's what.
And they
dirty
blamed it on
kid.
Lucy. They were like, "Your kid was the one under the bed."
She sure was. What dirty old Lucy.
I mean, she was literally under the bed, so I'm like, that seems about right.
Well, I'm pretty sure it was intentional that when Aleda finds her under the bed that she's scratching her head. She's like, I just want to stay.
Right.
Even though that's more of a lice thing. But.
right.
Still.
Okay. Let's get that together, Rogers. All right. So let's talk. We see that Red is bunked up with Piper, and she's coming in there, and of course she's mad. And Piper's trying to congratulate her back, and she's really mad because she said something that's very true about Piper, which is she's selfish and she's a liar.
Right.
Do you think this is true?
See,
like, does she do it badly? Does she do it with negative intentions, or does that make that okay because she doesn't know that because she has good intentions behind it? Does it make it okay?
It doesn't make it okay. What I don't like about Piper in this moment is that she doesn't really, I get that she, Red's not going to know one way or the other, so why not just make her feel better?
Right,
and I get that, that mindset behind her doing that. But when Red finds out about it, just own up to it and be like, I'm really sorry. Like, don't be defensive about it, or I was doing the right thing, whatever.
I'm a nice person.
You can't help.
I'm like, that's irrelevant to the situation.
Right. And regardless of why you did what you did, just own up to whatever it is.
I think it was so interesting that Red, the way she went in on her when she said nice is for cowards and Democrats.
I know.
I literally died. I was like, Red, anyway, I don't know how to respond to that, but
I was like, Democrats are nicer than Republicans.
I know. And I'm like, thank you. I'm happy to be doing that. But
that was so funny. So when she said, I'm a nice person, blah, 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 and she's trying to defend herself, you get where she's coming from. Right. But just like Sterling said, you never own up to it. Piper has not done that, and it's season 3. And that's really irritating.
Right. We're saying is that we want to see some growth from her, and we still have not seen that.
Right.
But I get where she's coming from, because how many of us have done that? It's the same thing. Like, it goes back to the most basic.
No, you don't look
How's
fat.
that dress look on you? Exactly.
You look
it goes back
amazing.
To
Your eyes sparkle in that dress.
You don't look tired
Your eyes
at all.
don't have to sparkle, though.
If somebody asks you, or you're trying to protect them from something.
Right.
So everyone does that. Let's completely put that on the table now. People aren't going to be that
Of course.
I think Piper's problem is she doesn't know when to not do it. I think she does it too much. She does it all the time.
Right. And what you were saying is she doesn't own up to it, and she's still making excuses. Oh, I'm nice, and I didn't want to hurt your feelings. Instead of saying, you know what, I effed up, and
you know what, I totally apologize.
I was trying to do it for the wrong reasons, reasons. But.
Right. And Red said something that I thought exactly that one in the episode where it shows Piper actually going to see the place and it's shut down. And I remember thinking in my head when she told Red that everything was fine. I remember going, why didn't you just tell you didn't have time? And that's exactly what Red says in this episode. Why did you say you didn't go?
Exactly.
Well, the worst part is that, when Red does eventually get out, she's had this idea that, oh my gosh, business is booming. I'm going to have a life after this. And then it just sets her up for that big devastation when she gets out and realizes that the business
but that's also her family's fault.
Yeah, I mean,
they really
it's not Piper's fault, but I mean, it's just character-wise.
Right. And then, of course, we see that Alex is sad still. There's the, she is still going through the because I would be mad too. But here's the thing: in Piper's defense, which I like to play devil's advocate here, Piper said that she was trying to help her not get.
When she said she was in danger.
Yes.
Bold.
Okay, so here's the thing. Maybe that could have been the icing on the cake. Maybe the cake was, I just want you here in the miserable place with me.
Right.
Because I'm miserable and you're the only person who understands this. I want you back here. However, the icing on the cake is you're in danger out there, which is kind of true. Which is actually very true. Because, what's his name? Vargas is still out there.
It is, but she's doing it for the wrong reasons again. Wrong reasons.
I don't know. It's hard to... When she said that line, I really was thinking, benefit of the doubt is on its way. It never came. Because I just... When it got to that scene, you see where Alex has been in her head. You've seen her up until this point. It is devastating to watch.
Right.
And Piper hasn't been honest about any of it. So that's, but you said you were in danger. Not a good defense at this point.
Exactly.
You could have come stronger.
Right. It's for the wrong reasons. It's like she wants her back.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, that's what she wants.
Right.
Alex has definitely done her fair share of bad things to Piper.
Exactly.
And so, it's just kind of one of those, revenge type moments. You did this to me, so I'm going to do this to you, is what I, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if she, loves this person, you obviously wouldn't do that. Like I said last episode, I'm just not interested in the
what they had
storyline
to do
anymore.
especially the way this episode ended, which I don't want to jump too much, but that was
when Alex was upset about the whole cockroach comment. I was just like, okay, I'm ready to go see what Daya's doing. Right. I'm sorry, but like when your supposed like main character is not interesting to me, I'm just ready for like them to turn this around this season. Like put something else in there, not this back and forth.
But I also say on that end though, the fact that we can have so many other strong characters that's almost okay if that lead character doesn't have an interesting storyline because we have so much other great characters in there and so much great other storylines going on. But it doesn't make it any better. Like they do need to figure out how they're going to make this better between the two of them.
I totally agree.
And if you notice through the seasons, of course, it started off very strong season 1, all about Piper. Now we're here in season 3, and it seems like everyone else has just as much of a strong storyline. So it's kind of, which I like. You can go anywhere with this. I love it. You know. Okay. Let's talk about and then of course Alex is sad. She's in the bathroom, and that hurt my heart when she almost got shot in going to the shoe because she was so hurt by the fact that she's really in this place
she
yet
can't even
again.
Pee without that was tough, and I love the way like that was shot. Just the way that Piper was on one side and Alex on the other side, and seeing her crying and everything. It was just a beautiful scene. I was like, this is. I
did like Piper standing up for Alex in that moment, saying, "Well, if I get a shot, does that keep her?" Yeah, well,
that's the least you can do.
But at least that she's doing something for someone else as opposed to just selfishly.
But that could be still done selfishly because she doesn't want the love of her life to be in shoe.
Well,
she wants to be here,
right? And she's just overdoing it because Alex doesn't know yet about her being the reason she's back in there.
But of course she tells her, and we see that Alex is mad, and
rightfully so.
But at the same time, if it's brought up to my attention that, well, you're in here because of me, and I'm back in here because of you, I guess we gotta let bygones be bygones, right?
Yeah.
It's a symbiotic relationship there where they're both.
Yeah, can't really be too mad.
I mean, I guess so. The way it played out, they weren't mad too long, so I guess that's fair. But I was very understanding of Alex's initial reaction. What the heck? You are manipulative, and why have you been hanging out with me this whole time? Like, I don't know if I wanted Piper to tell immediately, but waiting till that point, her nervous breakdown, oh my gosh point, that was the worst time to me. So,
yeah, and then we see that at the end, Alex, they're looking at each other in the hall, and of course, Piper walks away and goes like this into the library.
I'm like,
but this was right after the conversation with Red about how Piper's like, oh my God, I'm just like my mom. I'm having this huge breakthrough right now. No more bullshit. And then goes and does the same old stuff.
I thought that meant something. Yes, I thought
we were going to change the base.
Yeah.
Like, make me interested.
You knew
and then
that was
it just
gonna happen,
ends up being the same.
I really didn't. I thought
knew.
Red's conversation, she was like, no more. I was like, ooh, you got a little Russian in you now. It's good.
Well, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. It's like I thought that we were going to see something in Piper that we haven't seen yet. Yeah. But she just went into the library and hooked up with Alex, and we've seen that a million times.
Of course. That was going to happen.
And it just, I thought when she saw Alex in the hallway and she turned around, I was like, yes, because of course Alex is surprised. She's thinking Piper's gonna come over here and sing that same old sad song that she sings. And when she turned around, I was like, yeah, you're just gonna walk away from you. And then she walks into the library and looks back. I was like, oh hell.
You knew it was gonna happen because the library was closed, so you knew already they'd set it up.
And
now
Alex
gonna go and
smacks her in the face.
Yeah, you knew it.
Yeah, when she smacked her in the face, I was like, I'm confused. Yeah.
But you knew it was like they were gonna get angry and fight, and it was gonna turn into like, which happens all the time.
That love scene, I just don't know about that. Especially because Alex had on a garbage bag. Yeah. What does that do to your skin when you put plastic on your skin? I don't think you want to.
No, makes you all
clammy and yucky.
Yeah.
That's all I was thinking about when I saw it. I was like, oh, she had a plastic bag. She probably,
I'm sure that's not what they were thinking. But
I'm sure that's what I was thinking. I was thinking the same thing. Because I was like, oh, it's going to be nasty down there.
Ew. I love it. It's humid.
I watched this episode right after I got off the phone with my mom I was like, oh, you should watch the show. She's like, I've been seeing the billboards everywhere. I'm like, you should watch it. It's great. And then I saw that scene. I was like, never mind. Maybe we should fast forward.
No, you can start on season 4. No, yeah.
Right. So then let's talk about one of the biggest storylines of the season so far. It's with our pregnant friend Daya. And we get to see Mary Steenburgen is George Mendez's mom. I love it. I was so excited.
I'm so excited about that too.
Yes. I love that.
It took me a second though when she checked in with Bennett and was like, "Yeah, I'm George's mom." I was like, "Who's George?" And then she's like, "Mendez." I was like, "Oh no, not Mary Steenburgen. She's amazing. Why are you Pornstash's mom?"
Yeah, Lady Pornstash.
Right.
Oh, she was awesome though.
Yeah,
she was a good person.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Awesome.
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know? Why don't you think she's a good person? Because she wants to adopt her.
Think she's a good person?
Well, it's sort of that same thing where I just always wonder, like, what are people's real, like, what's her side? I'm waiting to see that.
She probably just feels guilty for raising someone like George, so she's like, I need to do what I can to make up for this, huge.
I don't know. I feel like there's something else there that we haven't seen yet.
I don't know. I think that, like I said, I kind of mentioned this earlier, but anyway, I think the way she reacted to Aleda was kind of surprising because I didn't think she would take ownership for her son like that. Because I don't know, as a mom or a dad, like how would that feel? I mean, yes, you're sad and pissed, but it's like I raised him; it was my fault, not necessarily your fault. So I don't know. Just the way
I think a lot of parents feel like that. If your kids, because
guilt.
You're like, why did my kid turn out like this? I thought I did everything that I could to keep him.
I'm not a mom. You can already tell.
Going to Litchfield, but clearly doesn't matter what economic level you come from, what your background is. People are responsible for their own actions, even if it is your child.
Exactly. At some point they are. But the thing I found interesting is that I was actually kind of understanding where Alita was coming from with the money for the grandkid. Because at first I was like, oh, it's all about her because she's in severe poverty and everything. But then to have her kind of twist it around and talk about the grandchild and being able to have his own room, his or her own room, and the towels, the clean towels, and like I was thinking, like, was that coming from a genuine spot, even though she's getting money?
I think so because
there was a little bit of that I didn't expect from her. That I kind of was like, wow.
And if you saw the last, in the last episode, we see that Aleda wasn't always this mean mom. Like, she really did love her kids at one point in time. So maybe that does come from a soft spot.
Little soft spot that came out and was like, oh, she wants her grandchild to have better than she had.
But that icing on the cake, honey, that monthly.
Or that what she could, or her family could give that grandchild, which I thought was really interesting.
Yeah.
Which I laugh, though, when you see the two grandparents talking to each other, and they couldn't be more different. And Aleda says to her, you raised two sadists and a homo.
She is just.
It's like, okay, so your son's in dental school, your son's an artist, and then you got okay, you raised two sadists and a homo. Gotcha.
What can we do next?
That was great. And also when Lady Pornstash was talking about her, how young Alita looked, and was like, oh, Hispanic women have such great skin, and like all these weird, like awkward, uncomfortable. Like, it was like they were so from such opposite worlds, and you could see that awkwardness kind of collide there.
Well, even when she's checking in, she says, oh, I'm sorry, it's a coping mechanism. So she obviously is very aware of all of the things that have gone wrong in her life, or maybe the things she's done wrong, and she's trying to overcome this.
Deal with that.
And
then, of course, Bennett knows that Mama Pornstash is there, and he goes to tell Daya, which all the women, of course, have stripped because of the bedbug infestation.
That was actually a really sexy scene. I was kind of.
Are you kidding me?
I loved it. No, I thought it was.
What do you mean? What part of it?
No, I just loved how.
What part of the naked, the granny brown panties?
No, not that. I liked how Bennett was he just cannot leave well enough alone. Like, this is his girl. Caputo has told you to go get lost, and he just be like, I just don't care. Like, just do whatever.
That part's sexy.
That was sexy to me.
That part,
But what I will say is I do give props again to the women to be able to be dressed like that and not have the stereotypically perfect bodies. And again, I give so much credit to them to be able to do that in this episode. And I think it was great that they did that. So
100%.
Wait, do you mean the actors or do you mean
the actors? Like that they were all.
They getting paid for this. You better wear that granny panty
out. But that's what I'm saying.
But
I'm saying it's further with the show about kind of breaking through those stereotypes. Having to have the perfect body and having to have the perfect like panties and bra, like the fact that they let it be that way, I thought was again continuing with the show's theme of like all the different sized women, different types, and that's what I'm saying. I thought that was a great
and being real,
and that made me not that I have granny panties or bras that look like that, but that made me go, okay, I guess I can kind of understand why guys get mad and women are like they don't have on lingerie, because I was like, no matter what your body type is, that's not
you
flattering.
Don't flattering in granny panties.
Brooke So was not flattering.
Nobody's
flattering.
The only one who liked my cute was Marissa or whatever.
No, she wasn't even cute.
Cindy was actually she kind of cute in hers.
No, I didn't think anyone was sexy. Look, nobody was sexy. Maybe Daya, because she's pregnant and it was her boo, and he's like, I love you. That was cute. Okay, but other than that, everybody was cute, but nobody was sexy.
Nobody's sexy.
No, sexy's the wrong word.
No one is sexy.
I just loved, just like you said, it was so many different body types in the exact same
bra.
That was so cool. I'm like, so everyone's rocking the granny panties and these disgusting bras that I'd never.
No, I've seen those. Those come in like the cardboard box. They're like Playtex. I've seen them, and I always looked at them like, man, who is buying this? And I'm like, oh, the women at the prison. Okay, I guess that's why.
Or the 85-year-old women that don't
or my grandma
and have to wear something, you know. But that's what I thought. Again, it was an important moment, even though it was sort of brushed upon. That
I love that a guy says that. That's awesome.
Yes, high five to you.
You're so cool.
Yes, thank you. All right, and then of course Caputo sees Bennett talking again to Daya, and he says, "This is not 3 Men and a Baby," which I was like, I love that movie.
So funny.
Not 3 Men and a Baby, and this is not going to end well. Forget about it. Do you think that his advice is right to Bennett?
Well, I see where he's coming from.
Yes.
And this situation, and and I do get it, because he doesn't want him, because again, he's in part of the plan, and it kind of, so he's kind of protecting himself in a way.
Yeah, for sure.
But yes, I get where he's coming from. He's trying to give solid advice, and I think in a lot of ways I get where he's coming from.
Yeah,
because they can't have a relationship, and he's trying to keep it.
I mean, he knows about it.
Yeah,
this is a felony. Bennett could go to jail,
and it could affect Caputo
he could
as
go
well,
to jail. So I understand him wanting to keep it under wraps.
Yeah,
right. He's protecting him and himself.
I think in some regard, it's a little harsh, like, oh, you'll never be able to be with her, whatever. But I think the main part that I agree with is at least stay away from her in public.
Right. Right. So obvious.
Like, don't make. I know, but I could have not known and still known. That's the problem. I'm like Bennett. It's really cute when y'all are together, but they're just so not slick. It's getting hilarious.
Right.
And Caputo knows who's family, so he knows. Okay, if you're talking to mom and y'all are fighting, it's probably about the baby. Yeah. Let's be a little bit more hidden with that. So that's my. I commend him for that part of his advice.
And then we also see the flashback of Bennett, and it's when he's in the military, he's overseas, in the Middle East, and it kind of goes to show how he's very he's a man who, even if you tell him not to do something, he's going to want to do it. Like, you see his sergeant telling him, "You're new, stop trying to go on the front lines, stop trying to be this, G.I. Joe American hero, let them die." And he's like, no, like, he's a man of principle, even as twisted as his principles might be. We see that about him, and we also see, I'm assuming this is how he loses his leg, with the bomb that goes off in the tent. The other question I had when I saw that scene: why didn't he leave the tent like the other people did? Because he wasn't covering anyone.
I thought he might have been protecting something. Because did you see when the guy jumped on top of the actual grenade? Right. Not Bennett, but the other guy. I was like, wow, that is crazy, because that just shows like the courage that these men and women have. He literally jumped on top of the grenade before it had even gone off to hopefully like protect other people and things. So I don't know what he jumped on exactly, but he wasn't protecting himself. He was like holding.
But Bennett jumped on too, top. Right?
No, that's what I'm saying. What was Bennett? Because if you saw, some people left the tent, they ran out, but he like covered something.
Yeah,
and I was
he jumped on top of something and like.
But it wasn't a person.
Yeah,
it wasn't. I thought it was another grenade, or am I tripping? Or like something. Because I was when the first guy did it, and then I saw Bennett move, and I was like, oh, wow, that's, So I think he was protecting something or people. I just don't know,
And then their whole... what do you guys think? That's what I was going to like. If anyone caught that?
Yes.
Because I was wondering the same thing, why he didn't leave, if there was something there.
Yes, use the hashtag ABTVOINT... I can't get this. OITNB.
OITNB.
It's so hard. It's a lot of letters. Go ahead and make sure you tweet and comment and let us know what you think about why didn't Bennett just leave and run out like everyone else, so his leg wouldn't have gone off?
What did we might have missed, Yeah,
what a whiz. Okay, and then we also see that Bennett confronts Daya, or Bennett and Daya confront her later in the kitchen, and of course she tells them, well, why would you want your kid to live with Cesar? Why would you want the baby to grow up in extreme poverty when this child could have its own room?
Right.
And in that moment I kind of softened. I was like, oh, she might be right. She might have something.
Well, you kind of get where she's coming from, and it wasn't just about her own selfish, let me get money every month, which part of it is, but there is that part of like, oh, maybe she really wants her grandchild to have that better life, like we were saying earlier, than what she or her family could provide.
Is it not possible for Bennett to take the kid and no one knows? Like, why does everyone have to know if Bennett
how's that gonna happen?
So like, Daya has a kid, she gives it to Cesar, and then Cesar's like, take your kid. and then
I think that's kind of what they wanted originally, but he doesn't have he doesn't know anything about babies. He doesn't have that much money. He's got to work all the time.
He's a single dad.
Yeah. I was thinking about it, like, when she has 34, 37 months left on her sentence. That's a long time.
It is.
Yeah, they said I'm like, that's 2 years.
3 years?
3 years. Yeah, almost 3
When she first said it, I was like, oh, okay, well, then she just has, the rest of the pregnancy, and then she, and then I was like, wow, that's actually a long time.
And that's a long time to leave your kid with a stranger.
Yeah.
Even if the stranger is well off, and, that's, because if you notice, one thing that Grandma Pornstash says is that she wants to adopt the baby. She didn't say, let me keep the baby until Daya comes out.
That's why I feel like there's something else there about her that we don't know yet, because of the fact she wanted to jump right in and adopt the baby.
Yeah. And even when Aleda said, Daya, remember you're 1 year in foster care, like, you don't want that to happen to your kids. So whatever happened in that 1 year, I mean, that's
we have to find out
three times
that.
as long as, the baby will be without Daya.
And why was she in foster care? We know her. Oh, maybe when her mom was gone?
Because, her mom was in and out of life. She's, she left them in and out of jail, that kind of thing. And then we see after that Bennett goes to Cesar's house to give Lucy a gift, and to also, just to tell the good news of what? Dun, 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 dun. Bennett's proposing, and they're going to get married. Yeah. It was so cute, the little aluminum ring. I was like, that's actually cute.
The gun wrapper ring.
Don't ever give me that, but anyway.
Well, you have to when you're in
I know. That was
not in real life. I mean, don't get a gun wrapper ring.
That was some serious construction.
Unless you're 7 years old.
Yes. Nice. So adorable. And, he was right behind her when she turned around. I thought it was great. Yeah. But I did not like Cesar's whole house. His entire, obviously you guys, I don't know what you guys think, but.
Yeah.
Of course not.
I love Bennett and Daya, obviously, but I was thinking that watching this episode, how well do they really know each other?
Right.
How they can't have conversations in public. They can't have these in-depth conversations. And even when he goes to Cesar's house and he sees a picture of Daya's quinceañera, and he's like, oh, you have she hasn't told you the story. She's so funny when she tells it.
She loves telling that story, and you don't know it.
And it's like, wow, they really don't even know each other. So for them to be, engaged, it's kind of
is she a Starbucks or a coffee bean? I mean, those are very important things.
Oh my gosh.
You need to know that when it's over.
Right.
You take milk in your coffee?
Yeah. Are you almond milk? Yeah. Vanilla? I mean, those are,
But it's true, and I think...
Very good point.
I think that, and maybe I'll say part of predictions, but I think it was good for Bennett to be able to see how this kid could potentially be living.
Right.
With the gun?
Oh, yes, that gun.
That was crazy.
Was ridiculous.
That was crazy.
So I was like, okay, you're doing the most. And I applaud the writers for the way they constructed that household and showed us the real, but I was kind of like, is this too far? Is this...
I'm sure somebody's done that to their stepkid. No. Someone has pulled a gun out on it.
Of course. It's like a threat to eat your vegetables, which by the way, French fries.
Which is a starch. It's not a vegetable.
I know.
I was cracking up because there was a time and place that I thought a potato was a vegetable. I grew up and you just eat whatever. You're not even realizing I'm eating my veggies.
Yeah,
it comes from the earth.
That is so funny.
It's so sad. But you see that the Cesar gives him some advice, and he says, that's why you have a woman. You get a side piece. She comes in. She takes care of the kids. You can get this done.
He's also having more kids with her.
Right.
So that's what's going to happen when Aleda's out. And he's got all these other kids.
Well, didn't he say something about that at season 2? I felt like it was something where it's going to be known. But
is it bad that there are parts where I really like him? I don't know.
No, I think that's how they go. I think that's how they wanted him to be.
He's like, I like him, but then I'm like, oh my God, he just pulled a gun out on a kid.
Right.
I can't even believe I actually liked him for a second.
He picked up the baby, and then it was cuddling.
So at the very end, we see that Bennett decides to leave that crib on the side of the road, which symbolizes what to you guys? What does that mean?
Oh, for me, I was like, I can't wait to talk to everyone else. What do you think? Because I put on my notes when I was watching, I said, Bennett leaves the crib on the side of the road with a sad face, and then I was like, wait, or a happy face. Could this be a new beginning, or is this him dip setting and leaving forever?
I wrote, he left the crib, ... I didn't know what
that's basically what I did too. I was like,
I was really sad.
I think what the crib could represent, though, but Cesar was all the kids have used it, they've been through this crib, blah blah. But by him getting rid of it, could be all right, this kid's gonna have a completely different life than the other kids in that household.
That's the other problem.
Which is what
I'm just gonna leave this, and I'm gonna leave this whole situation this season for me.
And he's a man of principle, so that's why I don't think he would leave I think with that, I put Bennett leaves crib on road. and I put stars next to he's not keeping the baby, which I think that means he's okay with them giving the baby to mama porn sex.
That was sort of how I took it too. Is the fact that's why he was sad. Is the fact like, okay, now I have to leave. Like, it's better because he saw the environment.
Right.
He's like, this is no place for my baby to be, and so it's better for me to just.
But that is the weirdest situation in the world. But so Daya's gonna get out if they do get married or whatever. This relationship really happens, and then the kid you guys have is with a complete stranger that actually has nothing to do with the situation. Right. How weird is that?
Well, and but Daya will always be the mother, like the actual mother, so she'll always. Everyone will always know that it's her baby. Right. So when she does get out, she could potentially still have a relationship with the kid.
And like Moy said, because I know people have had something similar to that, where the kid was taken away, where foster and all that, that's a whole other thing. Yeah. But I always said, at some point the kid, because they know who the parent is, could have a relationship with them later. But even Daya was thinking about it. She's like, maybe we should.
Yeah. Well, the biggest part of that, by letting Carol adopt the baby, is that's Bennett giving up all parental responsibility, him admitting this isn't my child, I can't have a relationship with it now or ever. Right. So.
Yeah, it was a big thing. That's why you saw it at the end there with him being sad. But that's exactly how I took it too.
Yeah. I hope that's not what happens.
Yeah, but that's what
I hope he's just going to go buy his own crib.
He's going to Babies R Us and he's going to buy a new one.
Yeah, that's what he's going to do. No, that's what I said too. I was like, well, what if he just wants to get another crib? And I thought that's rude because now that other baby at not have a crib. You're wasting cribs.
At least take it back.
You know what? I found one. It's cool. You can have
so many things wrong with it.
I was like, don't leave it on the side of the road. Like, oh man,
gosh, I can't wait for episode 3 now.
So let's talk about some other characters in the show. Poussey is wearing her garlic necklace to get rid of the evil and the evil bed bugs as well. She's starting to get into this voodoo stuff pretty heavy.
Yeah.
I'm wondering why though.
Exactly. I was thinking.
I like the line she said in this episode where she was like, whatever forces are out there, you might as well be on their good side. Like, I don't want to get on the bad side.
Right, but I'm wondering, like, why? So, like, is there something else that's going on that she's trying to...
her character.
There is, and that's how I took it, and we just haven't discovered what it is yet. But yes, there is a reason, I believe, and that's why.
They gave it to her.
Yes, and now she's has this interest, and why we'll find out.
Right. And then, of course, Pennsatucky comes and sits with the black girls at the table.
Yes.
And she receives some reverse discrimination, which I was cracking up. She was like, are you reverse discrimination? Against me or whatever. And yes. And then and Crazy Eyes is still so deeply indebted to V when she's getting ready to take that potato across Pennsatucky's face.
Do you think that they keep bringing up V because V's going to come back?
It has to be. Why else keep bringing her back?
We have to mourn her death a little too, so it could be either one.
It could be either one.
Yeah.
I do think it's a little bit because Crazy Eyes has to move beyond it, and because we've got to, because we just saw that last scene at the end of season 2, so there's a way of like having to come to terms with it, whichever direction it may be. But
it's kind of a toss up because you gotta mourn her, but then also it's very likely she could come back, which really irritates me because I do not miss her character.
I do not miss her either.
No.
I know, but she added such
so good. I know that's what we had last season. We loved her.
I know.
She was so
Lorraine Toussaint. She's amazing.
Yeah, I do understand that she would bring that crazy extra. I have to watch the next episode because that's how I was.
Manipulative, like just
and her and Red's rival was really fun.
Yes, and then we see down in the laundry room, So is there talking about her she needs bean leaves to get rid of the bed bugs, and she's there with Leanne and what's the girl's name? Leanne and Angie. And Angie, who thinks that Nikki has a crush on her because she's dyke bait. Is that what she said?
Yeah.
She's like dyke bait.
That I'm dyke bait.
Right.
I was like, I don't like the way y'all speak.
But she, that gave her some self-esteem. But she said all of this with a smile. I noticed. It's like, okay, if it lifts your spirits. And
I love what was the blonde one's name?
That's Leanne.
Leanne. When she's like the only person who touches my soggy box, and Nikki was like, first of all, if you're
a soggy box,
it's like
I'm not really trying to beef it.
Okay, that goes back to like that last episode, or I'm sorry, this goes back to what we were talking about earlier, which is the Alex in her plastic bag getting on with Piper. Soggy box. Gross. So gross. But then a loose check, they put up a good point. They say loose check, hey, bed bugs don't don't discriminate, so you probably have them too.
That was so funny. They were like, oh, so they know that you're obviously the officer? And I'm like,
he's like,
that was so
And then he's got drugs in his pocket.
What is it? It was weed, right?
Yeah, but it was in like a little bag. I don't know.
Isn't that how weed comes in a bag?
I just put little drugs. I don't know.
No, I was looking at it because I was trying to see,
It was green, right?
Because obviously, you know, that scene was important because in order for Nikki to feel like, oh, I can trust him. But I'm thinking, because I was like, I looked at it, I was like, I thought it was weed. I don't know if you are going to sit here and say weed versus like a hard drug like heroin is something, like I don't see that being okay, and me going, I trust him to traffic this heroin.
Yeah. I think it's definitely weed because he said sleepy time tea or whatever.
Right, it's weed.
I think it's another teaching moment to show like there's no difference in certain aspects of their life. Certain things are not one versus the other. If it's drugs, he's down with drugs. I think that's what I learned, because I thought the same thing, because when he was messing with her at the end and she said, I was like, oh crap, is he really gonna turn around? Yeah, so I don't know, I feel like he's always been down for the get down. So
and the 80%.
I was like 80%.
Right. And it's funny though how
he's like, of the drug or the money.
Wait a minute.
He's like, I don't know.
I thought he was gonna say both. That's what I was waiting for.
Right, that's what I was like, how did you know he was a heroin addict and he's doing weed? I don't know.
Right, but that's what I would have felt the same way as you, though. I was like, how do you know? Because it's one thing to be like pot, and a whole other thing to go hardcore.
I love that
he's
like,
you trust him.
He's like, I'm kidding. Of course I will.
Yeah, I know. And I really thought like, oh, it's over for Nikki. Who knew? Because you know, all season, this season, last season, and the season before, it's kind of like he kind of wants to do the right thing. Sometimes he doesn't, but it seems like he has. His moral compass is a little better than some people. So I really thought that he was going to take her and say, no, you're going to tell the warden this, or you're going to tell Caputo this, because this is not right. I can't believe you'd say that. I was just down with her. I felt like she felt at that moment.
Yeah. I like Nikki a lot. She is, over the past 3 seasons has just, two seasons and 2 episodes.
Yeah. She says exactly what she wants, and most of her lines are so like, I just have to write them down. Like, these are crazy. But
and she plays that role so well.
She does.
It's just perfect.
So then Boo, of course, is lookout while Nikki goes to get the drugs, since now they have everything. Their whole plan is good to go. But of course, the pipeline is gone, and so we're gonna have to get the drugs out, give it to Loose Check. He'll sell it, bring the money back. I guess that's how it's gonna work. The drugs are gone. Where are they? Who has them?
I think Nikki's already given them to Loose Check, right? No. And like without Boo knowing? I thought that she like went down there secretly. Gave him
that could be one theory.
Since it's like 80%, like he's taking 80%, so she gets 20%. Then they'd have to split that between her and Boo, so 10%. So I was like, maybe she already got rid of him.
So she's cutting Boo out.
And cut Boo out.
Really interesting concept. I kind of like that. I was just assuming that the girls, Angie and
Leanne, they're like, what is she looking at?
I feel like they know. Yeah.
I feel like, you know, they're former drug addicts.
They're down there a lot.
They're current drug addicts if they can get some drugs.
So to you guys, when Nikki was like, the drugs aren't here, did you really feel like she was surprised? I felt like it was just like, oh, the drugs aren't here.
That's a really, now that I think about it, she wasn't like, she was like, we have a problem.
Sterling, you might be onto something.
That was like my first reaction. I didn't even think of anything else.
No, I didn't think of it that way. That's
maybe that's really out there.
What did you think? You thought that Leanne and Angie took it?
Yeah, you thought they took it, or someone else that we aren't thinking about had seen it and they had taken it, or you know, he had taken it himself.
If he's taken it already, he didn't know where it was.
She didn't tell him where it was.
No, but he was in there, and so I just figured, you know, somehow, I was like, somehow maybe he knew. So I wasn't even thinking she was in on it.
I mean, to be fair, Nikki wasn't the most discreet, bending over and like looking in that hole all the time. You know what I mean?
Right. But I think also she was trying to act like she was, you know, fixing stuff. Maybe she's screwing the vent back together. You know, I don't know.
True, the electron roll.
Yeah.
Yeah, I figured it was too obvious of a spot that people figured it out.
Right.
But when they have bed bugs, don't people like go around and like check all the crevices and vents and all of that stuff? So don't they?
I think they live in vents because they survive off of blood. So I think they live close to where
clothing.
People.
That's why they always say like luggage and clothing and that kind of things they can.
That is so
be
scary.
Not necessarily in vents.
All right, and then let's see. We also learned from Caputo. Oh, by the way, I did want to say this. One of my favorite scenes of this episode was when Black Cindy was spraying the disinfectant everywhere.
So gross.
And she was just having a moment singing and spraying.
She was like, saying stuff I shouldn't repeat. Anyway.
And saying that her grandmother did this.
Birth control. And Suzanne's like, well, obviously it didn't work if you're here.
Yeah.
Like, thank you, Crazy Eyes, for being the only sane one.
And her whole thing from earlier at the table when she was like, my pits, tits, and naughty bits. Like,
yes.
oh.
She says, she's like, I'm washed.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
You call those important areas.
It's a whole bath.
I love when Suzanne was like, and they call me crazy.
Yes, that was so good.
Mm-hmm.
I think my favorite was anything Caputo did this episode to me was really good because I just really like that he's the only officer that he still has a heart for them. Like when the exterminator was in the library and he was like, "Can I interact with them?" He was like, "They're people."
Right.
I just was so happy. I don't know.
It was interesting
I love seeing him in that.
Yeah, because he changed from season 1 and most of season 2, and we saw this shift from him being the douchey, gross, guy.
He's still douchey and gross.
He is, jerking
because
off.
Because when Maritza walked past him in her greenie panties, he had to go to his office.
Exactly, jerk off, and he admits that in episode 1. But to see this other side of him that we didn't see towards the end of last season, it gives a whole other dimension.
Yeah, I think he definitely cares and is genuinely like hardworking and wants this prison to be up and running. And obviously, it's kind of falling apart a little bit. He's working 2 jobs, blah blah blah. But he does have his his faults. Which is everyone does. If you're a straight man, I guess you'd be attracted to people you're attracted to.
I'm sorry, the granny panties just
He says he does say that.
But he admits it.
He admits it clearly, different shapes, sizes. He says that to him back in the last episode.
But he's like, I'm going to take care of it myself.
I love that line acting on it. He was like, I could be a lesser man, and I'm not. And I was like, but he could be though. He could be. So
he's still gross.
I mean, he's gross.
He's
very gross. Yeah.
I guess.
And so we see that a guy comes, I guess, from the state and to talk to Caputo. The warden apparently hasn't let Caputo know that the prison is shutting down in 2 months.
Right. That's a huge thing.
And that's why they haven't filled his other position and why he's working 2 jobs. It's because they can't hire someone just to shut it down.
To close it down. Mm-hmm.
And that's why all the prisoners are getting released early because they have to shift them and they're not getting these new mattresses. And I felt bad because he's like, wait, we're burning the mattresses. What do you mean they're not going to get mattresses?
But they can't sleep on those mattresses with bed bugs.
Anyway,
what are they gonna do?
But we don't even know where the bed bugs really are from. That's what irritated me. I'm like, everything was getting burned. I'm like,
but you have to. Because once they're in there, you have to get rid of them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they're burning him and he walks out there and he's like, doesn't matter.
Just
like throwing all the books in
the like, not the books.
I know.
I was hoping he would say, like, protect them because it doesn't matter at this point. But
I get where he's coming from.
Yeah. Nobody wants those bed bugs for 2 months, right?
What are they going to do, you guys?
I have no idea.
What are we going to do? Because 2 months is obviously long enough for us to do the whole season, but I'm like, what's happening next?
I think Caputo should just open the gates and let everyone run out.
That's funny. Oh my God.
No, because then he won't get his job because the guy said that he's going to get transferred somewhere else, so he's still going to have a job.
Yeah,
but everyone else
Maybe
isn't.
he should get transferred and just leave the doors unlocked when he leaves.
Right.
All right, everyone, just one by one.
And they would do it too. You know them.
All right, guys. Does anyone have any? Let's talk about some predictions for the next episode.
That's what I'm saying. We kind of set it up for predictions there.
Now, your AFTERBUZZ TV.
What are my predictions?
Okay, everyone gets one prediction.
It's so hard though.
One prediction, and if someone says something,
God, you're so straight.
only one. We only have time for one.
You're seeing the world in black and white and red.
I'm gonna do. I'll do my prediction first. I'll go ahead and say that we're gonna see Rogers probably in the next episode or the episode after, and she and Healy are gonna have some issues. But I think we're gonna end up liking her. That's all I'll say.
I think Bennett and Daya are gonna have a whirlwind of fights on this next coming episode, just because I think he's gonna say that maybe we should give it up, and they're gonna have a toss up in the relationship, just trying to figure out what the best thing to do. And I just really want to see what that's gonna look like.
Okay. I feel like Bennett. Oh no, I can only do one. Okay. I don't want to do that one then. I think that Nikki has already given the drugs to Lou Sheck and is gonna like that
God,
one.
there's so much.
What I said basically, and also that I think that Bennett isn't giving up on the baby just yet.
Okay.
Okay.
No, I can't do just.
What about Alex? Just pick one. Pick something that we didn't say. Pick something totally different, like Alex and Piper and some other character.
Fine, then I'll just say that I think Alex is going to be released early because they're going to have to do something, and from that we're going to find out that the prison is closing before Caputo wanted. People
she wanted the early release.
So she'll be and now the prisoners, and I haven't seen ahead, so I don't know. So everyone can comment away there on that. But yeah, I'm going to go with that, and that somehow it's going to get out now that it's closing early because of that, and all the prisoners are going to know, and the staff.
Okay.
All right. Let us know what you think. Make sure you use the hashtag ABTVOITNB because we want to know what you think. Where can we find you, lovely people?
You guys can check me out on Twitter and Instagram at OneTakeStace. Please make sure to comment using ABTVOINT.
No, OITNB.
Dang, you see how
like, just read the bottom.
Y'all got it. Thank you.
And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Sterling Cates.
Yes.
And you can find me on Twitter, SMan80, that's SMAN80.
And you can find me, Megan Thomas, on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Meg Scoop, like scoop of ice cream. And don't forget to watch and subscribe. Subscribe right there. It's down below. Just click AfterBuzz TV to catch all of our amazing shows. And also find us on SoundCloud and iTunes. We love you guys.
We're
See
everywhere.
you.
And comment.
Comment. We might shout you out.
We'd love to hear from you.
Bye. See ya.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later. No bed bugs.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.